All right, Andrew Pollack here, co-founder, CEO at leadPops.com. I want to talk to you a little bit about KPIs for your business and the importance of tracking and really knowing some of the critical metrics that are going to kind of give you a health score about how things are going. Gives you an opportunity to make projections and really analyze the state of your business. So different businesses, different KPIs apply. I run a SaaS company and a marketing agency. So we look at things like LTV, lifetime value of a customer. Churn matters a whole lot to us. So looking at how long is a client, do they make it past the free 30-day trial? And if so, how many months or years is the average client on our platform? CAC, so cost to acquire a client. These are all metrics that matter to us, and we look at these things pretty carefully and try to look at what can we do to measure and then also influence these numbers in a way that's going to help us. So looking at these kinds of metrics is going to help you really understand how well you're doing. If you're bringing as many clients in as are walking out the door, you're spinning your wheel. So it might really look good to say, hey, we're getting an extra 200 or 300 clients a month. This is fantastic, great growth. But if you're losing 190 out of those 200 clients you just got, you're not doing as well as it might look if you're not tracking these kinds of things. So being able to keep score of these things is really important. A lot of different tools out there. Again, for SaaS companies, there's a lot of different subscriptions that we can use that'll help us track these kinds of things. But on your end, if you're in the mortgage business, if you're in the real estate business, insurance industry, there's some overlap in LTV. How many times is a client for you? Did you close a loan one time and it's just turn and burn and you're just bringing them in one at a time? Or does your average client end up doing multiple transactions with you? Do they refer you their family, their friends? And then you start to look at, hey, that one transaction was maybe $3,000 in commission, but our average client ends up doing business with us multiple times. They refer us family and friends. So there's a multiplier there, right? So it might be a $9,000 or $12,000 value on that relationship and that customer. So understanding that cost to acquire a client, a very important metric to understand. You work your way backwards a lot of times from looking at cost per lead, your marketing budget, your cost per click. All these things factor into what does it cost you to bring a client in. And so looking at the cost per funded loan, that's kind of the acronym a lot of times that's used in the mortgage industry. What does it cost to close a loan? If we're looking at the different metrics that get us to that point, we're going to start to understand what does it cost us overall, at least on the marketing side of things, to bring in one client. So if it costs $10 a click and it took us 10 clicks to get a lead, right? We're looking at $100 per lead. Then if we start looking at, it took us 10 leads to close a deal, then we're looking at $100 per acquisition on those leads. So you can start to do the math and look at, does that make sense for our business? Can we spend $1,000 if we make $5,000 in return? The answer in most cases is yes. You might have other costs of overhead, processors, assistants, office space, all these things that factor into the overall cost. But these are some of the metrics to look at and be mindful of. And it just helps you understand how far into the red can you go? How much money can you spend before you're at the point of no return and you're not going to make your money back? And just understanding these numbers really helps you make the right decisions for your business and make data-driven decisions. So we're looking at these things. It's been very, very helpful to us to examine, to use different tools that are available to monitor and track that kind of stuff. So from a marketing standpoint, looking at the reporting, looking at the numbers, how much traffic comes to your site, what's your conversion rate from clicks to leads, how many leads does it take to close one deal, how many conversations are you having to have? How much time does it take? All this kind of stuff will factor into whether something's going to be profitable or not, and whether you want to keep investing in it. Give it a little bit more time maybe to gather the data before you jump to the conclusion that something isn't a good investment, because there's always that factor of maybe in the first couple of weeks it doesn't quite work out the way it's going to work out if you give it some time. The Facebook algorithm is a great example of that. If you just turn on your Facebook ads, your results in your first couple of weeks are not going to be as good as they are in month 2, 3, 4, once that machine is starting to learn and understand what's driving the right kinds of clicks, what's converting for you, and then showing your ad to the right audience. So that's just an example of where that plays in, and just understanding these numbers overall puts you in a much better spot for your business. So take a look, be mindful of that stuff. Don't make decisions usually, at least based on like gut or impulse. I mean, going with your gut's probably a good idea sometimes, but overall look at the data. It's there, and understanding it will help you make good decisions and grow your business. So until next time, thanks for watching the video. Be sure to hit that like button, share and subscribe, comment on your KPIs below. We'll catch you soon with another video.